Hello, peeps. Welcome to another episode of In Conversation with. Becoming a vet is something a lot of people dream of. Though their life is very rewarding, but it's also very challenging and demanding. And if you are a wildlife vet, you realize that you aren't just there to fix animals, you also help save entire species and the environment with your skills. Our guest today, Dr. Chetan Patond, is one of the leading wildlife vet in India. He talks about the realities of his life in his chosen career. And just to tell you that he's also a very good horse rider and has taken part in a lot of show jumping events. Welcome, Chetan. Really happy to have you. Okay, let's start with, can you tell us about yourself and how you decided to become a vet?
My name is Dr. Chetan Patond. I am a veterinary surgeon, and I joined veterinary profession after 12th, my junior college. And honestly, actually, it was both the things. Actually, I wanted to join medical profession also, and veterinary profession also. Any medical profession related to biology, I wanted to go. I was scared of mathematics. So that's why I chose to become a doctor. First of all, second thing, then opted for annual husbandry subject in my junior college only. So that from that time I thought of joining the veterinary field. And when I joined the Nagpur Veterinary College, then I wanted to go after learning all those things and after getting idea of a veterinary profession. So I decided to be a clinician. So in the clinical aspects, we have various subjects actually: surgery, medicine, gynecology. Plus, we have paraclinical subjects: pathology, microbiology, and all. So I found surgery department it was very exciting to get new cases and critical cases and some challenging cases. So I thought of taking field of veterinary surgery. After completion of my post graduation from the Nagpur Veterinary College as a veterinary surgeon, I decided to I had a few options, then few options, but posting of the Pench Tiger Reserve was open for other vets also, for me also. So I applied there and I joined the veterinary, this wildlife veterinary field. So earlier to that, when I was the part of the Nagpur Veterinary College and part of the surgery department, we had additional this charge of the various rescue centers. We used to give technical services to Gorewada Zoo and Transit Treatment Center of the Maharashtra Forest Department, Nagpur Division. So through in that 2 years, I connected with wildlife, and I thought from that point, I somehow wildlife came to my mind, and I went to that field. So now, when I joined the Pench Tiger Reserve, I thought that veterinary wildlife veterinarian is supposed to be a relaxing post and will not have much work and all. Then when I entered in the field, then I came to know it's very challenging and it's very difficult because sometimes your work can go up to some 16 hours per day and something like that. So in that case, you can do those things for 2 or 3 days, not more than that, and it's very difficult to stay in jungle without any facilities. You don't get all sort of facilities there, but at the same time, the life was very exciting. The dream of most of the people to touch wild animals uh, and do treatment and all other managing aspects. But I had an opportunity to treat those animals, tranquilize those animals, and be a part of their life. So it was very exciting, and since last 4 years, I am working as a wildlife veterinarian. And in that case, we work for the treatment cause of the wild animals as well as domestic animals. Also, we do as a professional surgeon. We do surgeries, and but most challenging part is the management of conflict cases. Actually,
Coming to that there's a lot of conflicts happening, man animal conflicts, and a lot of cases come up where the animals are the ones who end up losing their life if you look at it in any conflict. So why is this that we have so many conflicts now, and what is it that the government is doing, and how do we resolve this conflict and save our wildlife? Because I think now we are on the like it's really critical situation.
Earlier, actually, day by day, cities are expanding, and you can see every city has their ring roads, and every outer ring road, inner ring road, and cement jungles are there. So directly or indirectly, we are breaking their home and breaking their corridors, breaking their living places. Where animal used to stay in those areas, we are creating concrete jungle. They are finding it's very difficult to get into the another areas also because of the concretization and buildings and all, road construction, highways and all. So uh, so whenever they feel insecure in that area, they try to move to another area. First thing. Second thing, whenever they are moving, whenever they find a living object, they don't consider human as a human. For human, they consider human as only as an animal, and animal in the sense any animal they can eat. Tiger can eat two tiger also in territorial fight. Forget about the humans. Humans are the least means very poor prey for the tiger. They can kill very easily. So it's just a prey for them. They don't know why they are killing. It's for the meat purpose to satisfy their hunger, to satisfy their desire of feeding and all other things. Second thing, whenever we break the corridors, whenever we destroy their habitat, that time actually we are not destroying the habitat and the house of the single animal. It's a multiple animal. Like female has a cub always. Like she carries two or three cubs. Whenever these cubs migrate from one area to another area, they see all these activities actually: construction, human interpretation, interference and all other things. So that time it's that what I will say conditioning to they get conditioned to those conditions. While migrating from one area to another area, they have to cross human habitat, like human dominated landscape. So while crossing the human dominated landscape, they come across the casualties. But if we consider the overall scenario of the man animal conflict, it's very less. How many human beings and how many human beings are getting killed every year. Then if we compare this ratio with the road accidents and other accidents and all other things, it's very less. Hardly few individuals like human beings are getting killed in tiger attack. Though this is not though the number is very small, this is not a like good scenario. We don't want single human being to be killed in any the such kind of casualties or accident. But if we consider the number, if we compare the number of casualties are very less. But the way media, the way social media, the way people, the local people, politician, and all other people, they highlight this issue. It's a major concern actually. We should not highlight this issue in such a manner. We can handle it in a very like different in a better manner, so that people will not react to this kind of a situation every time. Second thing, government has many policies to control this kind of incidences. Like government is constructing the solar fences around the fields because for the animal, whether it's a crop, whether it's a jungle, whether it's a farmland or whether it's a jungle, for them it's a very like they don't differentiate it. They can cross from jungle to farm, farm to jungle, and they will go randomly whenever possible, wherever possible. They don't differentiate it. We have uh, put borders on our farms. That this is my farm, this is their farm, this is jungle, and this is farm. So borders are for us. It's not for them. For wild animals, they don't have borders. They can go to the any extent. They can go to the any distance. They can cross anything. So we have means put all those borders, all those stamps on the ground, and then it's again we only actually destroy their habitat. We only put stamps on the and limits on the borders. But as a wild animal, they don't differentiate it. So in that case, they cross, and whenever they come across the such kind of human being, they sometimes they attack, sometimes they get injured, sometimes they get killed. But to control all these things, government has given option of the solar fencing, solar compounds, followed by some other compensations whenever someone get injured. Government provides compensation for injuries, even hospitalization charges government pay. Even in case of human casualties or human death, they pay remuneration of 10 to 15 lakh depending on the state to state in throughout the India. In Maharashtra right now, even for the simple common cattle kill, they provide government provide, and forest department officials provide 10 to 25,000 per cattle up to 40,000 in case of high animal, and in case of human being, and the compensation for the life is 15 lakh rupees. It's the highest in the country actually. So this kind of what are the government measures are taken by the government are not in other countries. It's in our countries to protect the tiger, is to protect the scheduled animals, is to protect the wildlife, it is to protect the jungles of this country and state, and it's they are doing their best possible to control all these things. How long have you been working with Pench Tiger Reserve? I've been working with Pench Tiger Reserve since last 4 years, and during my, as I told you, during my course of this masters in my Nagpur Veterinary College, I was associated with department indirectly for the treatment purpose for 2 years. Though I was working with I used to work with the Pench Tiger Reserve. We had cases of throughout the Vidarbha region, starting from Chandrapur till Jargaon. We used to, we are, and we will uh, tranquilization, treatment aspects, and relocation of the wild animal, including scheduled one animals like tigers, leopards was there, and herbivore animal like deer, sambar, even for that matter, uh, sometimes wild boar and birds also. We do all those kind of work. After you completed your degree, did you have to go in for some other training to become a wildlife vet? Basically, there was no training. We had to train ourselves. That was a self training, first of all. Our seniors were there. They told us how to be a part of department, what are their hierarchy, and how did their like what are the different departments and how they manage all those things. But I was good with the anesthesia, as I had completed my masters in the Department of Surgery, Radiology, and Anesthesia. So as a clinician, I was very good in the that aspect, tranquilization and anesthesia and surgery. So that helped me a lot in treatment aspects of the wild animal and tranquilization aspects of the wild animal, because unless and until we can't treat a wild notorious cat without anesthesia, and wild notorious animals we can't treat without anesthesia. So sedation is the foremost important part, tranquilization is the foremost important part of the wildlife. Unless and until we have that part with us, we can't do anything. Physical rescues and all those things are very stressful, so we always opt for chemical immobilization. So what does a typical day at work look for a wildlife vet? So wildlife vet most of the time sitting in the office doing their official work. First of all, whenever we can get call at any time. Any time in the sense any means any time. Like 3 in the morning, we'll get call that some animal has been hit by a truck on the road of the national highway. We need to prepare for the 6 o'clock morning rescue operation. So accordingly, we will organize everything: nets, baffle board, tranquilization guns, medications, oxygen cylinders, stretchers, and rescue van, transportation case, treatment case, depend on the condition of the animal and type of the animal. If it's a small animal like a civet cat and jungle cat, we will catch it in the net, and we'll keep it in the small cage, and we'll do treatment aspect. If animal is very serious, we'll take that animal to rescue centers in the Nagpur. We have center rescue. We have center rescue and like keeping facility. We keep these are wild animals, those who require treatment for 7 days to a month in the one of the transit treatment center in the Nagpur. That's a transit treatment center. So where we keep animal for transit period. If animal is treatable and can be relocated in the wild, we will release that animal in a period of month. Over the month, we will shift it to Gorewada Rescue Center and Rehabilitation Center. There, they will try to do their best to like take animal to the normal situation, position, condition. If animal can make it, they will release animal in the wild. Otherwise, animal will be will be kept inside the cage or inside the in the zoo actually for lifetime. So every animal cannot be released. So we get random calls actually. First of all, um, wild animal this rescue call, whether animal is fallen in the well, whether it is hit by a truck or any other vehicle on the road. Third is man animal conflict. It's very important. Whenever we see one or more human kills, we sometimes accident kills can happen if animal uh, comes out of the jungle, or a human being, they if they go out inside the jungle, and whenever they collect some forest extract such as wood or some other glue and some other mawa flowers and all, they bend in that position that, and the other carnivore animals, they see that individual as a wild animal, as a prey, as a small size prey, and they attack actually. And whenever they kill the human being, they don't consider their meat as a different from the wild animal. They eat sometimes. So in that case, if once in a while, that is all right. Sometimes these accidents can happen, but whenever this condition like happens frequently, that time also we go for rescue. And rescue can take a single day and it can take a year also. That cannot be we can't predict. We were in one of the rescue in Pandarkauda in Avni tiger case. We were there almost for 15 months. We had many encounters with the tiger, because of the some situations and such some conditions we could not do it. We got few chances, but chances were very it was for a second, it was for a few seconds only. So we could not do anything. So whenever we go for from that point, we used to go to, sometimes randomly we'll go and we'll see condition. But now, as of now, whenever we go inside the jungle, whenever we go for the rescue, such kind of rescue, it's always with the preparation. We can't leave single thing behind. It has to be there while going inside. Whenever things will be in our hand, that time only, whether it is required, whether it is not required on the point, that is another thing. But unless and until we have things in hand, so whenever we go for the rescue, whenever we get called, we make a checkout list, what we have, what we don't have. We'll arrange everything, then we'll head towards the rescue operation, rescue spot, and we'll get rescue. We'll try to do our best to rescue animal and get animal to the rescue center cage if possible, release in the wild. So in some cases we get animal with the snare injury. Sometimes we get tiger with snare on the leg, one of the leg of the tiger. If that injury is acute since last 2 days or 1 day or 3 days, 1 to 3 days, that time we just release the snare and we avoid the choking of the blood supply to the leg, and we on the spot we release the animal with the dressing and long acting antibiotics and long acting painkillers. So in that case we can release such animals on the spot, but that has to be decided on the spot only. If the condition of the leg, if the condition of the animal is good, then we will release it. In case we don't find that animal is not like in not proper condition, that time we get that animal in our custody with the proper permission and documentation, and we treat those animals and then we release. So it depends on the, whenever we start the day, we don't know whether when we'll finish, whether we'll come back in the evening or we'll come back after 10 days, we don't know. Okay. And sometimes we get postmortem calls of the animal. Calls cannot be predictable. We don't know where we will finish our call. We really don't know. Coming to the man animal conflict, which are the major conflict zones? So conflict cases are like majority of conflict cases we see in the area where the tiger population is increased very like high, with a very high speed. So like Tadoba doesn't have a conflict itself. Tadoba doesn't have a conflict because the tigers which are staying in the Tadoba has a accustomed to the life pattern or the what are the pattern of the jungle is there. They have a good population, a very high density population of the tiger, leopards and sloth bear. But as a sub-adult tiger, whenever sub-adult tiger is of like a sub-adult tiger, leopard or sloth bear, whenever they are of 2 years, they start finding their own territory because their father will definitely fight with the cubs and he will throw all those cubs out of the father's territory. So he doesn't want his cub, particularly male cubs, to be there. It's a competition, survival of the fittest. Father doesn't want cubs to be staying there, because there will be competition for food. There will be competition for area like territory. There will be competition for mating also. So both animals have three basic needs in jungle. One is the food, another is the mate, and another is the territory. So for all those three things, whenever the population increases, animal fights for all those things, all three things. So they start migrating. They start migrating towards adjacent areas, forest areas. So most of the individuals know corridors actually. So they follow corridors. While crossing the corridors, they sometimes come across the other individuals. They may fight with the other individuals and succumb. Maybe they may get severe injuries. Sometimes they recover. Sometimes they doesn't make out of it. So they, while going to the other areas already have adult males and females. They don't allow. So they had to like they need to establish their territories. So these are the, while crossing these occurs conflict maybe of animal to animal, or conflict maybe of animal to human. So both conflicts are on the way. So here in these spots are very highly and, like what I will say, occurrence of the conflict is very high in those spots. And whenever we come to the towards from Tadoba towards the Nagpur, we have very high scope of tiger population. Even from Nagpur towards the Amravati and Medghat. Medghat is a huge 3,000 square kilometer plus area there. Only 40 tigers are there. So, and in Pench we have core area of 150 square kilometer plus around 150 square kilometer, not approximately, and a buffer area of 600 square kilometer. Still, we have 40 tigers. In 3,000 plus square kilometer, they have 40 tigers in Melghat. We have 600 square kilometer plus area. We have 40 tigers in Pench. So tiger density is variable. So chances of tiger human conflict in Melghat is on the lower side than of the Pench. And same condition is in contrast. This Tadoba and Chandrapur area has a very high density of tiger. They have cubs and sub-adults and adults. All those individual like 200 plus tigers or 300 plus tigers they have, although including in Chandrapur district. So their possibility of tiger conflict is very high. So these are the hotspots. And corridors are the major hotspots actually. Whenever the animal is traveling from one forest area to another forest area, while crossing from one point to another point, they may come across such condition. So in most of the animal, if we see, they travel winter season or late monsoon, because the fields are already fields have crops actually, so they can hide themselves in the crops, and there abundant water availability everywhere. So they don't have to be they don't need to search for water. Second thing, whenever the farms are there, population of the wild boars and the spotted deers are always there actually. So that time also, that is an advantage. They get some kind of prey there. So whenever we see the ecology of the animal, they generally don't travel in the peak summer or early monsoon days. No, never. Animal will see his food security, water security, and self security, and then only it will travel. Recently, in last 2 years back, actually, we collared two tigers in the Tipeshwar Wildlife Sanctuary. And when we see the movement pattern of the animal, it used to go 5 kilometer outside the sanctuary, come back, 10 kilometer outside the sanctuary, come back, 15 kilometer, 20 kilometer, and he started increasing his territory or the route actually. So it went to Adilabad division, Telangana Forest Department, up to 50 kilometer. Then it came back to again Tibeshwar. Further that he could not find anything. He must have thought there is no food or water or anything there in the Adilabad side. So he came back to Tibetan. He started traveling to opposite direction towards the this Hing, towards the Aurangabad side, from Yavatmal, Buldhana, Hingna, and all those districts he crossed, and he went to the Ajanta Virud cave by crossing Nanganga Wildlife Sanctuary. He has covered when the collar was dropped, he almost covered 2,500 kilometer distance. Wow. Zigzag in the zigzag manner on the random pattern. We get distance at an interval of 6 hours. Whatever he used to travel in between 6 hours, we don't have. It must be 4,000 kilometer or more than that. So he almost traveled. We have data of 2,500 kilometer, 2,600 kilometer. Recently, he came back to Nanga Wildlife Sanctuary, which is aerial distance 400 kilometer, and now he's settling in and around. He didn't harm anyone. People in one of the district went to very close to him because they did not see tiger for last 50 years, and they went very close to him, and he just scratched one of the person. Rather than that, he did not do anything to any person while traveling. So rather than whenever we see such animal, tigers or leopards generally don't travel far actually. But sloth bears, they generally don't travel so far. Tiger is a very this impressive animal and very
He loves
good
traveling.
animal to study all these things. So in such animals, actually, they travel. Means they are very curious and they are very territorial and solitary animal. Like to stay in alone actually, not with the female for long time or not with the cub, unless and until he establishes his own territory with female and cub. So such animals are sometimes problem conflict may make conflict zones, and but luckily this individual did not cause any harm to anyone, and he's happily staying in one of the area. But still, he's searching for his mate. He is getting food, water, shelter, everything is getting, but he did not get mate actually. So he's searching for female. So he again started coming back to Tibet Wildlife Sanctuary recently. Wanted to water the female cubs we rescued last year. We wanted to, but one of the cub actually was in a close relationship with him. So we did not opt for and that actually option actually. Another curve was there which was not capable of which could have make some conflict in that area. So we didn't want to have a negative impression on the people and negative emotions of the people on the tiger conservation aspect. So we did not go for that option also. So we are still searching. We are still thinking of replacing or relocation of the one of the female from Nagpur area or Tadoba area to that area. Hopefully, we'll do some in the coming days.
Okay, when is the tiger declared man-eater? Like, Avni, was she really a man-eater? And if couple of accidents did happen, why was it that like why are those tigers they are killed? And prime example, yes, Avni, despite all the uproar and everybody's protesting, like she was killed, and which is now I think is a case again has been filed in its high court also. So why when is the tiger declared man-eater? And what is the solution to them? Not every time you can kill, and they are not responsible for even killing humans, as you said. Like we are the ones who breach the boundaries, and then we only blame them, and then we kill them. Mm-hmm. Right?
Right. Only chief wildlife warden of the state can give permission of hunting. Only one person in the state. Chief wildlife warden, also called as principal chief conservator of forest wildlife of the state, can give permission of hunting of the animal, and to opt that permission from the this such permission, it has to be first it has to be first declared by the committee or the division, concerned division of that area. So whenever we declare such animal as a threat to human being, in such cases we form the committee. We form the committee of the local government, local governance system, such as the sarpanch of the area, police parties, and vets of the area, forest officials, police department. We form every time we need to form committee as per the guidelines of the National Conservation Tiger Conservation Authority, and we gather the enough evidences. We gather enough proof to prove that this animal is a threat to the human being actually. So we don't do all these things very randomly. We need to have some proof and some permission. Forest department has a track of each and every tiger. Each and every square kilometer of the forest land is protected. It is every day it is scanned. It is being monitored by the department at by various systems, whether it is a direct indirect sightings of the animals, whether it's camera trap, whether it's information collection from the villagers and all other things. So in this case, as you asked me about the Avni case, in that area, the camera trap images showed only two tigers over the period of 1 year. No other tiger. We had a camera on every 2 square kilometer, 1 square kilometer. We had cameras. So whenever we forest department, uh, whenever they get information of the human kill, whenever they set up camera traps in and around, they got images of that female. Female has a unique stripe patterns, and the stripe pattern is unique to each and every tiger. We had a good pictures of the tiger, which had pictures from the
How many kills?
kill site area also.
How many kills were there? How many people did she kill? Humans?
Humans say it is observed that total 13 kills were observed. Out of 13 kills, I think one of the kill was made by some other animal also. But we have information of, I think, 11 11
She was
human
not
beings
venturing into
killed
human
with.
area and killing humans, right? They were the ones who were probably entering into her territory and killing, right? If I'm not correct me if I'm wrong. She
As we told, as I told you earlier, it's a honeycomb pattern. As it's
That's
a
what I'm
honeycomb
saying.
pattern,
So
and
is it always important that we should kill them and not rehabilitate, or there's no other solution to that?
one thing is there. Even if we would have captured that individual, and we would have kept it in the cage or enclosure for her lifetime. We forest department is protecting all tigers. Forest department is protecting each and every individual, each and every tree. They are trying their best, but at the some conditions or some events actually are like that. Sometimes they need to take decision of the killing of the one individual, because as I told you, the negative interpretation or um, um, negative impact of the on the conservation can happen because of the one tiger. So to protect the other individuals, to protect the jungle, this kind of call can be taken. But again, when we were there, we tried our best to do, and we tried our best to capture that individual. But circumstances were there. The forest land was something like, it was a very up and down terrain. We could not take a vehicle inside. We could not take our elephants inside. We could not take people inside. It was very thick jungle. Whenever a tiger is to sit, we could not go. I have seen that tiger is from 20 feet, 30 feet, 50 feet, number of times, but I could not do anything. She charged on us 4 times. I see that tiger has actually charged on our team 4 times. It was hardly a matter of single more jump, otherwise she would have killed us. Whenever we see this terrain, whenever it's very fascinating to have such kind of work and all those things outside. Actually, whenever we go inside, we cannot walk for 2 kilometers, 3 kilometers, because that terrain is very undulating. All stones are there. You don't have a sand, or you don't have a soil to keep your feet on. You need to put your feet on one stone followed by another stone. This practices actually are everywhere. So in such cases, when most of the kill actually, forest department has a proof of indirect proof of not DNA testing. DNA, we opted for the DNA testing, and that option actually in 2 or 3 cases we got female tiger DNA on a human kill, and she was the only female that time, followed by indirect evidences in 8 or 9 cases. She was the only individual we charged on the people. I have seen that tigress looking at this shepherds uh, for the kill. She was not on the cattle or the sheep or the goats which were there. She was behind the shepherd, and I was looking at her from a certain distance, from 300 meter, 400 meter, through binocular. I have seen she could not make it. And about the killing option, such incidences happens with such individual. The killing option can be kept practically. It's not It's not necessary to conserve and preserve each and every animal in the forest area. Ultimately, the conservation we are doing for the it's for the human only. Whatever the conservation activities we are doing, it's ultimately for ourselves. We are selfish in that way. We want it to conserve in that way also and this way also, but both things cannot be happen together. If individual is killing the animal, if the simple example is that if some person kills other 2 3 persons, person individual, he has to go to jail, or he will be hanged by the court or something like that. Same thing we can think about the animals. If that individual is killing 10 individuals or 11 individuals or 13 individuals, whatever it is, that individual has to be eliminated from the forest area. That's a very simple concept. But if we take all these things in an emotional manner, then it will be very difficult to take the decision, because the amount of resources, the amount of a negative impact on the conservation we made through that individual is we cannot calculate actually. So sometimes if such kind of cases happens, we should, I think, in my opinion, my personal opinion, we should take up elimination call earlier, rather than waiting for last moment and to go to this extent. Or we can capture this individual as early as possible with very high quality and quantity of efforts. But again, after capturing, these kind of animals cannot be relocated in the forest area, because animals will cause problem in that area also, and forest department will have to suffer for this. And if we consider the practical part, the individual which was staying in the free forest land will be kept for next lifetime in the small cage of 20 meter by 20 meters, not more than that. That is not a life. It's no, better to eliminate animal rather than.
As you correctly said, we everything is from the point of view of human beings. We look everything at, like, for our own convenience. Conservation has to happen for our own convenience. These many animals are required for our own convenience. Poaching has increased, what I'm saying, by 151% almost during lockdown. The poachers, they don't punishment. What is it? Like, if you look at the according to the thing under section 51, the punishment for poaching is imprisonment, which may extend up to 3 years, or with a fine of rupees 25,000, or both. Don't you feel we need strict laws to fight the poaching?
We have the Wildlife Protection Act 1972 is very weak. So there are
all animal laws are weak, Chetan. That's what. Let's be.
Yes. So we need to increase the level of punishment. We need to we need stringent laws actually for that matter. And unless and until we have stringent laws and rules and regulations, we cannot fight with this. The punishment, now the you said the poaching has been increased. Now, if we see this before Corona, people had good employment and all other things, so people could wait for 4 5 6 months, because we had a survey in and around the Pench area. So number of entries of the people inside the forest area have been decreased considerably during the first phase of the lockdown, followed by people did not get employment. People did not get because most of the people are dependent on the forest area for maua collection, tendu patta collection, and forest extracts and wood and all, direct and indirect. So out of this, actually, most of the people, they go for under the some acts actually, the tribal act and village act and all other acts. So they can go near in the forest area up to 2 kilometer, and they can go and collect the goods from the forest without having the natural flora and fauna of the forest area. But whenever they used to collect all these things, that was along with their employment. They lost their employment and they started even lost. They could not afford to have food and all the things. Again, they started doing all these illegal things. That has a negative impact on the conservation. The number of cases which increased during this of the poaching and all the things, that is on the second phase of the lockdown actually. First phase it was nothing. Government has the same level of protection. Even we have in the Pench and in Tadoba, Nalaganagar, everywhere, we could not see increase in the poaching cases actually. But could have been mentioned on the social media, could have been mentioned on the other platforms that was not mentioned earlier. Could be that could be the reason. Otherwise, we don't see increase in the poaching cases and all. And whatever the poaching cases are there, that used to happen earlier also, and that has been reduced a lot nowadays because of the many we are using a number of new technologies like sensor technologies. We have fire notification is given from the satellite itself. Whenever we see fire in and around any forest area, automatically the message goes to local guard, followed by ranger, followed by DFO, then CCP. Everywhere that message goes. Wireless systems are there, cameras are there. I told you this camera traps are there. We have set up many live cameras are there. So people cannot go randomly inside the jungle. Patrolling parties have been increased. We have new vehicles actually. Those can cover like good distance actually. New torches, devices, infrared devices. So all these things have these things are helping us to to minimize the number of incidents of the poaching actually. So in my opinion, in some part actually there might be cases of increasing wildlife poaching and all. But in our part, it is reduced to a great extent nowadays. It is not possible for people to go inside the jungle randomly and hunt the animal and take out the wood or animals outside of the jungle. No, it's not possible because of the kind of protection, kind of work planning and work program is there. Nobody can enter inside the jungle very easily. Okay, in the human population, we see the rise of number of diseases that are difficult to be cured. Like corona is the prime example. Is this the case among wild animals also? So both animals actually, carnivores and herbivore animal. Carnivore like tiger, leopard, and small cats and big cats, and herbivore like small herbivore like spotted deer, sambar, nilgai, and Indian bison. They have different sort of disease. So every year we go for a round vaccination or ring vaccination of the. We can't vaccinate each and every wild animal. That is for sure, and we don't want to do that. We don't want to interfere in the natural immunity. We don't want to interfere in the genetic makeup of the individual. But some of the diseases can be transferred from domestic animal to wild animal. Like for carnivores, canine distemper, feline distemper, and rabies are the most concerned diseases actually that can be transferred from domestic animal to the wild animal and wild animal to domestic animal. And disease like rabies can be transferred to human also. Some diseases are zoonotic. So these diseases we can't vaccinate these individuals. So we go for a ring vaccination around the 5 kilometer periphery of the every tiger reserve, every wildlife sanctuary. We go for vaccination. Vaccination of the dog, cats, including anti-rabies vaccination, canine distemper vaccination, and feline distemper vaccination is done by the owners of that individual animal of the dog and cat. While farmers actually can't afford to have vaccine from outside, so government is providing vaccine for cattle, buffalo, sheep, goat. The major concern diseases of these three diseases, FMD, foot and mouth disease. So foot and mouth disease is a very dangerous disease and can be travel. It's an airborne disease and can travel from one place to another place in a day. Like it can cover 25 to 40 kilometer per day through here. So sanctuaries are not generally more than 40 kilometers. It's the highest distance of the sanctuary. So if you enter from the one area end of the sanctuary, it will take all animals outside of the sanctuary after infection. So as we can't vaccinate this wild animal, we go for ring vaccination of the cattle, buffalo, sheep, goat outside of and that has been done by the state animal husbandry department. Wildlife veterinarian of the concerned tiger reserve and other forest official has this they confirm each and every year, each and every month that these animals are vaccinated, and for that matter we provide assistance from our side for each and every village. Like certain ranges have 12 villages or 13 villages. The ranger who is handling that range has 13 villages, so he will provide assistance from their side, forest department side, for vaccination in the form of restraining of the animal if required, in the form of vaccines. Actually, if they are getting if the villages are not getting vaccine, the forest department will provide vaccines for the vaccination, so that the communication from these animals can be avoided, because most of the this nalas and the water streams, actually they are going from villages to the jungle, or coming from jungle to villages. So whenever the infected animal drink water in that water stream, it can infect thousands of animal. Infected animal can affect 1,000, 2,000, or more than that animals on that stream whichever is drinking the water. So in such cases, the forest department is also giving solar pumps and this big water, actually this water holes, actually, or water holding facility to every village, so that their domestic animals can drink water there itself. And such kind of facility um, are also we are creating for wild animals. We are almost means created, so that animals should not come outside for to drink the water toward the villages. So they should not share the space, common space of water, for food and all. For that matter, we are generating our own grassland in the forest department. So they are creating grassland meadows, so that the wild animal can have their own food there itself. They should not come outside. So whenever the herbivore population will increase inside the forest area, tiger population or the carnivore population will stay there inside. They will not come outside. That is the secondary agenda, so that animal should not come outside for the food purpose. Otherwise, sometimes abandoned tigers have tendency to go behind the easy prey, like goats and cattle and buffalo. And once they come to know that this is like a easy prey, they will chase only cattle and buffalo only. So that is again so all these things we are doing, and plus we are giving medication, anti-tick, other the ticks we observed on the animal. For that also we are giving medication in the form of spray. We are giving disinfectants. We are giving mineral mixtures. We are giving grasses and their seeds. We are helping them to villages. We are giving villagers everything, so that they should not be dependent on the forest area for grazing purpose or any other purpose. Second thing, sometimes we are also giving a scheme that for it, like if some owner has a 5 cows and getting 5 liter milk per day. So in that case, forest department is giving a very good quality cow to them in replacement of the 5 animals. So that cow will generate or give or produce 15 liter or 20 liter of milk per day, so that their dependency of the on the jungle should means decrease. And for feeding also we give everything, mineral mixtures and all other things for. So all these things our forest department is doing. Even people are in villages, they use chula, and they burn wood actually for this matter. So we are giving gas cylinders. We are giving subsidy on the gas cylinders. We are providing gas cylinders for 3 years, so that they should forget the use of chula and all other wood burning and all those things. Everything doorstep, just to conserve the wildlife, just to avoid the impact of the natural means, to avoid this impact on the wild animals actually. So like with there are many schemes actually: solar power, solar fencing, and hand pumps, and cattle exchange program, and all the other things. There are many things. Have you ever been attacked or injured during the rescue? He was attacked by tiger, or in that matter blue bull also, but somehow I could not like get any injuries. But recent incidents, our veterinary doctor from the Tadaba Andhari Tiger Reserve was suffered from a very means injuries actually, and because one of the tiger was lying on the same spot since last 2 days nearby road, and people were observing that tiger could not get up. So these people actually went towards the tiger, and tiger suddenly attacked on the team. So they, as I told you, unless and until we should not go on the spot unless and until we have each and everything in our hand. Tiger was actually attacked by it. It was injured in the territorial fight. It could not get up for 2 3 because of the pain and some other issues. But we approach animal. Uh, our team actually approach animal in a very casual manner actually. So somehow Tigress actually managed to catch the feet of our vet actually. So and it was the tug of war between Tiger and our people, rescue team members. So they were pulling his hand and Tiger was pulling his legs. So somehow he could make it, and somehow Tigress took only one of the shoes actually, considering his leg, and was lucky enough to avoid. Otherwise, Tiger would have eaten his leg. We generally, whenever Tiger attack on us actually, we it's just dangerous to human life or dangerous to human being. So dangerous human being could be because of many reasons. We cannot blame only individual for that matter. As a forest department person, or as a part of the forest department, we'll never say that. Any incident that has stayed etched in your memory? Of the individual actually released by our team in the Medgard forest. Medgard actually forest area. Medgard, it's a very difficult terrain. It's a very difficult terrain. Even if we can see that another hillock is just 50 meter or 100 meter away from the aerial distance, we need to travel 2 3 kilometer up and down, then we need to, like, we can go to that area. So like that, it's a Medghat itself. It's a very hilly terrain. Vehicles cannot be taken inside. Elephants cannot taken inside for a long distance. Though we had elephant, but somehow. So I went to that area, and it took me 12 hours from Nagpur to reach to the spot. 12 or 13 hours, and I said next day we'll go for operation. We had a location actually, location of the tiger, as it was called while before leaving. So while leaving actually, uh, I thought that it will be very difficult to capture this area. We will have to stay here for next 3 months. There is no other option. So but somehow, by the grace of God, I got some information. I went to the area, and teams were there, elephants were there, everything was there. But since morning to evening, we were searching animal. The animal was hardly some 200, 300 meter away from us, but we could not get it. But in the evening hours, I spoke to, I have a habit of speaking to villagers actually, and tell me the spot. I asked him to sit in my vehicle. Actually, we went there, and tiger was moving in between. Actually, one vehicle was ahead and one vehicle was behind me, and in between tiger, aram se it was moving, and it went behind the cattle herd, because all the one entry point was there for a village, and from the half kilometer away from the village, and every cattle grazer and every farmer actually used to go from that side, and which are the last animal used to be left, because in the herd we see some weak animal which stay like away from the herd actually, because it's a weak. So generally such tigers and leopard and all other animals actually try to get that animal, capture that, they kill those kind of animals. So when we went inside, we saw the tiger is there, and it was raining, vehicle could not go inside, and at the same time we knew that this is going to be dark in next 15-20 minutes. We somehow darts were injection were prepared, and we hit the tigress. We injected the drug actually using a syringe projector or tranquilization gun. Tigress fell down, but it was half sedated. When we went near her, it was almost dark, and everybody was holding a torch. And somehow I went to her, and I tried to put a cloth actually on her head. And as soon as I put a cloth on her head, she turned her head from down towards me. Everybody started running, and it was already dark. I could not see. I had no torch. I was holding in my both hand. I was holding long sticks actually, bamboo sticks, and to keep the towel on her head. Somehow, from the close distance, I injected her again medicine. Then the question was that we did not have cage to keep her after that. So cage was almost 2 kilometer away from the area, and 1.5 kilometer, 2 kilometer away from the area. I asked one of the vehicles driver member and our RRU member, rapid response team members to go and get the cage. They said they went 200-300 meters. They said the साहब गाड़ी फंस गया. अभी गाड़ी कितना फंस गया है तो बोला ऑलमोस्ट चक्का पूरा अंदर चला गया, इससे आगे गाड़ी जाएगा नहीं. So I asked tractor driver to go. 30 minutes later tractor driver said sir same thing. ट्रैक्टर भी आगे नहीं जाएगा, कुछ नहीं जाएगा. Again after some time they sent some other vehicle. They said तीसरा भी गाड़ी फंस गया कि 1.5 किलोमीटर चला के लेके जाते थे. Then when we started walking, the mud was almost till our this knee, 1.5 feet, means more than that. Sometimes some places were there, whole individual can go inside. 4 feet mud was there actually. So it was that this big this deep mud actually. Somehow we had no idea where the road is. We were new to the road, and those guards were there. There were two or three. They could not manage everything. So we knew that one of the road is there which is going towards our animal was lying down on the ground. I collected blood and all the other parameters, temperature and all other things. Then we started walking towards the cage. Then we came to know that this mud is very deep. It's almost 2 feet or something like that. It's unable to walk for 2 kilometers, next 2 kilometers. Somehow we started walking. So then elephant actually they called elephant. Elephants were there in that area. The elephant actually pulled everything and he took uh, all those vehicles to nearby cage. They loaded the cage, and with the tractor and cage and elephant came to the spot after almost a period of 2 hours. So we had to keep animals sedated for 2.5 hours in that area in the pitch dark, and it's sometimes it's very difficult for as a veterinarian. It's very difficult to we can't give anesthesia behind the limit. If animal goes deep and cannot come outside of the anesthesia, it's very difficult. If we compromise on the breathing part, if we compromise on the temperature part or heart rate part or the any other part, it's very difficult to revive the animal. If we lose the animal, it's again the blame for the veterinarian. So it's always a double-edged sword for veterinarian. We can't give anesthesia, too much anesthesia. We can't give less anesthesia. In between, one incident occur actually when we were taking animal toward the cage, almost in the half. Animal, it was anesthesia got light actually. So animal was started coming out of the and he shake animal tigress actually shake the head and started yawning actually because it was in the deep sleep. As soon as the tigress shake the head, almost 4 people who were holding the stretcher, they dropped the stretcher and tiger. He said सर आप हाथ लगा के दिखाओ फेस पे तभी आप हम लोग उठाएंगे नहीं तो नहीं उठाएगा. I said okay, I'll keep my hand in his mouth. You just lift the tiger, don't worry. So this thing happens and these are very moments. And one of the incidents actually, I was with the team of the Wildlife Institute of India. So we were in Tibetan Wildlife Sanctuary for the collaring of the one of the tiger and to remove the snare of the same tiger, which traveled to the Aurangabad and the Virula caves. So that time also, everything we took off and we forget to take off the. We actually keep a towel or the cloth on the head of the individual. We call it as a blindfold. So that animal should not respond to the stimulus of the light and to the stimulus of the sound. Mm-hmm. We already injected this reverse drug actually antagonist we call. So we use whenever we feel that our operation is over. Sometimes we go for antidote actually. So sedation, if effect of sedation actually reverse back within 2-3 minutes or 4-5 minutes. So we already injected that medicine and we forget to take out the blindfold actually. So animal was already on the in this sitting position. Still blindfold was there. So one of our doctor actually went and Dr. Parag Nigam from WII, he went and he somehow he managed to, while running only, he means unfold the things and took out all these things and he started running to the other area for safety purpose. From tigers, what are the other wildlife that you think? Elephants and rhinos also? We don't have rhinos and lions actually. We do in carnivore actually we treat tiger, leopard, and in omnivore sloth bear. All around means other than this, small cats actually, farm civet cat, jungle cat, and leopard cat, and all other cats come to us in that wild dogs actually, then hyenas. They do come to us in foxes and wolves. They come for treatment or we rescue them. And in we do treatment of snakes also. We do surgeries of snakes also. We get number of birds, and sometimes I go with Ushma to other places like Jaipur and all other places for surgery of the birds. And we get sometimes we rescued was crocodile also. We rescue bison. We don't have set up like a problem of actually elephants. Elephants generally we if required we just go with other vets to assist them. Otherwise, Tadoba veterinary doctor is good with elephants. Generally, he only manages all elephant cases. But other than that, elephant, rhino, and lions we don't have. Otherwise, we manage all other cases. Why is elephant treatment different? We don't have elephant problem in our area. We are not accustomed to that section of the. We can, in case of emergency, we can do it. That there is no doubt. In case of emergency, we will tranquilize elephant. We have done tranquilization of elephants also. we have we have done treatments of like I have done treatments of elephants also, tranquilization also, sedation also, but it's not a regular affair as of with the other animals. So whenever we called one of the elephant from Tadoba, then it was suddenly started behaving weird, and it killed one of the person, destroyed many houses and fields and animals and so many things. In that case, we can sedate the animal, but we that is not a common case for us actually. It's sometimes whenever it comes to us, we can do it. How do you keep yourself motivated? When it comes to the field, it's always about the saving of the individual and motivation in the sense. There are very few people who want to come to this field because it's very exhausting, though it is very fascinating, but it's very exhausting. We can't in the summer we need to have 20-25 liter of water with us every day. We can we can't imagine the amount of heat and all of the stresses are there. That's why people who are working in wildlife can't stay longer time actually. So they do work for 4 or 5 years. Very few people actually they get continue. But these fields are fascinating. Fascinating in the sense it's very rare chance that you don't get you in the sense a common public doesn't no one gets chance to go and treat it's such individual. And in such cases we are doing very good work, and for department is calling us for the treatment of individuals. So that one factor. Second thing, it's we are getting a chance to save the one of the such precious individual, and we have such that is the I will say that is use of our knowledge actually as a clinician, as a surgery person. It's use of my knowledge for the treatment aspect or the immobilization aspect of these individuals. And whenever it's proper utilization is there, then it's definitely we can use our knowledge actually and the skills for the treatment and betterment of the individual, and ultimately for ourselves as a human being. Yeah, it always comes down to human being. What are your future plans? Future plans are all I want. I as a means I'm very keen on doing the clinical aspects actually. Conservation aspects are there. There are many conservation aspects are there, but I don't want myself to be my knowledge to be wasted or my time to be wasted only in the other matters actually that can be done by other people. So as I want to grow in the field of wildlife, whether it's uh, I'll say anesthetic protocols. So I want to contribute in that, say how to approach animal. We want to share one thing. Last individual in one of the which we captured actually in Chandrapur district was captured physically. Tiger, we captured individual physically in the history of India, in the history of the world. I was there actually. Our senior officer actually asked me to go to the field, stating that we are trying to capture the individual since last year, and Tiger had killed almost 10 people. And it's day by day the people are getting aggressive. I said, sir, I'll go. So when I went to Chandrapur, that time other people, resident people or in the vets of the Chandrapur actually got disappointed actually for some time, saying that what you are going to do after coming here, we are trying our best. I told them that it's not about what I'm going to do. There may be some points actually you are not thinking, or I may come there and may suggest something which may be helpful. Additionally, I asked them to make one point. I asked them to uh, get a map of the individual where that individual was, like what route that individual was using. After a assessment for 7 days or 8 days, I came to know that this individual is traveling underpass of the road and of the under the railway bridge actually. So we made a cage. Uh, there, the cage idea was mine actually. How to establish it was the means matter of the department. So I asked them to make a trap cage like thing, what we use for leopards actually. Leopard we can't capture using immobilization gun and all of this. It's very difficult because they are very agile and because they are very agile and they are very elusive. We can't get a chance to dart a leopard unless and until it is in the house, someone's house, in the college or something, some buildings actually, or in the whale, dry whale, and some other places, or if it is trapped in the snares, then only we can get leopard. Otherwise, it's very difficult to get normal leopard actually. So we leopards are very elusive and very the nature is very different. So they're very smart cats than tiger actually. So they generally we get them in trap cage. So I asked them to make trap cage under the bridge. We made a trap cage. We did alteration. We tied a bait inside the this cage. Tiger came on the 8th day. It went back. He did not come inside. But I knew that very well that this tiger has seen a bait here inside. Whenever he'll be hungry, he'll come. Most likely he'll come tomorrow. I came to Nagpur. That time I got a call. The tiger had been trapped last night, but he managed to break the cage. And I said that we had two more setups actually. We will strengthen the this capacity of the those two setups which are under bridge. And the railway, you know very well, that it was built by British, and their poles and their all infrastructure was very solid, and it could not break for last 50, 60 years. Tiger could not do anything for that matter. And successfully we trapped that individual in another cage under the railway bridge, and then it was immobilized. And that is in the history of in India, the first tiger has been trapped in the physical cage. So sometimes actually this kind of inputs are very helpful. So I want to work actually. Now we had a. I'm talking to many IIT people actually, technology people, and those who can make good quality cages for us so that we can operate it from the distance, and the cameras and the tranquilization guns and the robots which can be used, so that we know that we have a limited capacity. If a tiger can pull a 300 kg and 400 kg of wild prey easily, human being 60 kg, 70 kg human being is nothing for that animal. It will consume as a treat, not more than that. So, for that matter, whatever the work we will be doing after this, we'll be doing a smart work. What are the methods we are using today are all our traditional methods, very traditional methods, except we have tranquilization gun and infrared cameras and some other thing. But we want to go beyond that. So I want to develop myself in the coming years. I want to go in that field so that whatever the work we will be doing, it will be smart, and we can get the animal, conflict animal, and we will get the injured animals without going to the animal. We'll operate everything from the distance, like a drone, like a robot, like a robotic animals, something like that. Operating animals with the from a distance, how will that be possible? Drones actually, it can be operated up to 5 kilometers, right? In the same way, we'll operate the robots which can give, which will be fixed. That robot will be, we will have inbuilt tranquilization gun inside the robot, tranquilization gun or syringes, will make a smaller quantity of everything, and those things will help us to reach the animal. It's a bamboo patch. I cannot take, I cannot go personally on the my foot toward the individual. Second, I cannot take my vehicle because of the limitations of the vehicle. Third, if I take a bigger vehicle like JCB and tractors, animal will go away from that area. So in that case, I will use the robot of of a shape of tortoise, of a shape of bird, of a shape of small, like a spotted deer, that will go towards the tiger. And as soon as it will go to the tiger, leopard, or any other individual, the dart will be hit on the individual with the laser and with all precision. Whatever we will do that work. We will do the trial. In future, I want to work on that aspect, and some tranquilization protocol and some other protocols are there. We have very limited number of vets right now, and very limited number of actually, we don't have even, if we compare with the facilities which other countries or other other countries have, we are doing it at a very minimal cost, and at a very using a very minimum equipment. We have, it's our physical strength and mental unity. Otherwise, it's not possible to trap such big individuals, in the open forest area, because cats can go. I have seen tigers and leopards and others can 360 do. They are wild, notorious cat. They can go to any extent. They can do any harm. They don't have any problem in killing you and eating you. So we don't want to do all those things. So we just want to focus, and next level we want to focus so that we can do things in the night hours. Actually, we have limitations of tranquilization night hours. Actually, we can't do it because of the, we don't have facility of infrared lights. Plus, we can't search animal in the, even if we tranquilize the individual in the night hours or evening hours, we can't trace the animal. That has been happened earlier also. They could manage to tranquilize the individual, but they could not search it where the individual is. Whether they were hardly 15 meters away from them, other like from the individual, but they could not notice the individual is there because it was sleeping nicely next to them. So in such cases, it's very difficult. It's very difficult. Rather than it's very frustrating that we were so close and we could not do anything. How do you trap a crocodile? Crocodile, actually, we get crocodile sometimes in the nearby, in the villages, actually, in some farms. Rather than trapping it, actually, we just we have actually this snares, actually. So from certain distance, actually, we put snares on the this crocodiles, and small crocodile. This is for the smaller size crocodile, not possible for the bigger size crocodile. We have a V-shape hooks, actually, which we put on their muzzle, and we put tape on their muzzle, actually. The tapes or the ropes, actually, we close their muzzle on their mouth, actually, so that they should not open their jaw. And sometimes, actually, they keep on rolling unless and until they roll around themselves in a such a manner that like you will let them go. So in that case, we just tied them with the rope. Automatically, they wrap that rope around them on their own, and we take in our nets. And we have special design cages. Actually, we just lift them and keep in cages, and we release them where their habitat is. Treatment treatment part in case of crocodile is very less, unless and until it has been hit by the this road vehicles. Actually, if it comes on the road and hit by the vehicle, that time only we do treatment. Otherwise, it's a very rare opportunity for an animal to treat such animals. Actually, it's very rare. Generally, we go for relocation and rehabilitation. Mostly not even rehabilitation. Rehabilitation means the sense we will keep it that individual in our custody for a couple of days, and then we will go for a release. No. We immediately rescue those individuals and we keep it in their core areas. That's it. What kind of advice would you give to someone who wants to work with wildlife? So wildlife, actually, it's a very good field, and anybody can work. There are different sections. It's not necessary for you to be to be a vet, to be a biologist, to be of some other particular branch. As a civil engineer, you can use suggestions in water conservation and water management and some other building infrastructures. some like that. As a vet, you can use yourself as a in case of treatment, biologist in monitoring, all those things, agronomist, and those are from the agricultural background. They can use their techniques for the this grassland management and this plant management, all the other things. And those are from the IIT sectors and some engineers and all other things. Those can be used, like told you, we need some devices to track the animal, to trap the animal, to tranquilize the animal, to treat the animal. So such kind of devices they can contribute in that way. It's not just a job of vet or just a job. There are n number of people who are today who are associating with us, and without them we can't do anything. Unless and until we have good habitat, unless and until we have good water management practices, we can't raise the population of herbivore. Unless and until we raise the population of herbivore, we can't raise the population of carnivore. From the city area, it's very easy for us to describe that forest is like that and this, and we should not allow local people to go inside the forest and all. It's very difficult because we are getting everything here in our hand. It's another thing, but the local public actually is dependent on the forest area. They are the one. We need to have a positive mindset for themselves and to change their mindset toward the positive conservation aspects. uh, like I told you earlier, schemes and all other things. So every individual can come to wildlife conservation in many ways. If they can't come directly, they can be a forest department officer also. They can be a honorary workers also, members also. They can establish an NGO. NGO can work with the department in collaboration with the department. They can do that also. And there are n number of aspects. Whether you take any species of the plant, whether you take the species of the individual animal, you can work on anything. Many things are there, many opportunities are there, and department does want to have such people who are willing to work with those who want to work with like very properly and organized manner. They can be a part of department, whether it's a forest guard toward the principal chief conservator of forest. There are n number of posts are there. They can work like that, but for that we need to have some civil services examination. All those things are there that need to be cracked and go. You're other person. It's a very tough job, but we can do it on a various manner in various aspects. We can ease the work. Whatever we are today we are doing, is hard work is more rather than the output of the hard work is not that great, but still we have good hands actually. From the forest guards to the n number of people are there, those who are helping us to do all those things, but all how we can reduce the manpower inside the jungle. Any individual can come and do the research and work on that. So it's not a very specific that someone need to who wants to join department can have a specification of some particular thing. It's not like that. When you go out in the field, how many people are there? Like before, for foremost important is my driver and my vehicle is very most important. Unless and until we have that, we have 4x4 vehicles inside the vehicle to like go and get it for the operations actually. That is very important. Rather than that, we have a team of 7 to 8 people, depend on the type of animal, type of individual. Minimum 8 people, 10 people, who has a specific responsibility. Like those individuals are there, they have specific responsibility. So one person is carrying a spray pump to reduce the temperature of the animal and ours also. While we were in the that individual has the same responsibility. He will not touch any other thing. Other person with having oxygen cylinder, he'll take oxygen cylinder, stretcher, baffle board. Those who are taking guns, they will have only guns. They will not touch any other thing. This is the core team. Other than that, there are supporting teams to locate the animal. Whenever we go for such kind of operation, in case of in case of uh, injuries, in case of snares, it's a very simple operation. But whenever we need to search individual in 10 kilometer by 10 kilometer area, 100 square kilometer, then it's very difficult. So we have supporting teams like a monitoring team who give us input of the location of the animal. Whenever we get location of the animal, on that spot we are means we call off other teams actually from the other area. We focus on that area. So it's always around 50 plus people, not less than that. Sometimes it can go up to 300. The Avni actually we were around 350. 350, 400 people, 300, 350 people were there. So every day we used to work, 300 people used to work together to get the information of the tiger, to locate the tiger. After locating the tiger, we used to go in that area, we used to search everything. We used to sometimes we used to get location, sometimes we didn't get location. So it depends on the operation to operation. In case of crocodile or some small animal, 10 individuals are sufficient. In case of small bird or something like that, or two people go on the two wheeler, they capture a bird in the net or on the in the towel or something like that. They get in the basket or something like that. So teams are very much variable. Single person can do work. It depends from rescue to rescue. Rescue to rescue. But most commonly in tiger reports or there are such conflict area, we need at least 50 to 100 people, not less than that. What is the maximum number of nights that you have spent in jungle? Sanctuary actually, I used to sit in the cage actually because I used to sit in the evening 4 o'clock in the cage, and I used to get up from the because cage was camouflaged nearby water hole, and we thought that individually will come in the early morning hours to drink water, or will come in the late evening hours to drink water. I spent almost 2 3 months in the cage. Except why would you sit in the cage? Because cage was safer for me, and safer in the sense I didn't want to get attacked by tiger or rather than so tiger. Machan is not safer. Machan actually animal can sense your movement actually. Oh, some okay. Moment, some sound. We have seen that, we have observed that whenever we sit on the machan, it's for the new individual or juvenile individual actually, they don't care, but those mature individuals are there, mature animals are there, they can sense that someone is there in the on the machan. So I prefer to stay close to in the night hours actually, because sloth bears actually can climb your machan. You can't. So rather than so tiger, leopard, the leopard even can climb your machan, can come next to you sitting watching tiger. So like that, it's I feel cage is the safe. I can take a rest in the night hours if I required very well without any disturbance to the animal. And I have seen many individuals actually from the cage in the night hours. So sloth bears actually and leopard also used to come on the same water hole where we set up cages actually. So to me used to be two people. One will be like one used to sleep for a couple of hours. I used to awake whenever I used to sleep. He used to awake, something like that. We used to do. For almost we spent 2 to 3 months in for one of the tiger, but we could not get the tiger actually. The tiger had a snare on the neck, and it turned to be and it was there for 1.5 to 2 years. We tried our best to capture, locate the tiger actually, but we could not locate the tiger for almost for 2 years. Out of the 2 years, in one of the summer season, I used to sit inside the cage for almost 2 3 months. That was very it's very fascinating to see tiger from 15 20 feet distance actually. Tiger, wild leopard, wild sloth bear, and wild number of wild animals coming to that area and drinking water and lying down in the water, puddle of water, and we can see that those individuals there. But at the same time, it's a very what I'll say exhaustive procedure. We can't sit in the summer actually when it's a 50 degrees Celsius, 40 degrees Celsius inside the forest area, and you are sitting inside the cage where there is no ventilation, because we need to cover each and every corner with the bamboo and all of that thing, so that animal should feel safe actually. The animal should not see that something artificial is here. So we can't keep that thing as a ventilation. We can't see. We can't keep. It's very difficult. It's very exhausting. So those actually are very exhausting procedures. But the animals, they have a very strong sense of smell. So can't they smell you? Tiger doesn't have, in my opinion, they have a sense of smell to a certain extent. Because if that would have been the condition, they wouldn't have consumed poisonous meat. So they have a very good sight. They have a very good hearing capacity, but they don't have that good smelling capacity. They can smell if they want to. They can just they can smell the thing, but randomly number of actually activities happening each and every day in the forest area. The number of people actually, forest people, those are working on the ground for the grassland management, for the other reason, they are crossing the roads, so they are used to those smells actually. So smell is not an issue actually in case of wild animal, unless and until it is a sloth bear. If sloth bear gets an idea that you are sitting on the machan, he will come on the machan. He will then see how you are sitting here in the night. Yeah, he'll come and probably sit. Okay, I'm also gonna sit with you and share the machan. Yes, yes. That has happened actually earlier. Last time when we were sitting on the machan in the evening was to see the movement of the tiger, and sloth bear came, and we were still, means we were not moving a millimeter actually. We were not even breathing through our nose actually. Whenever we breathe through nose, no, that time it makes some whistling sound. We generally breathe through mouth actually. We keep mouth open, and so that animals should not hear our breathing pattern actually. So that in that case also, sloth bear actually managed to smell us, and he was looking over the tree, but somehow we were so still, and we managed to throw one of the stone to the other area. So he was distracted and run away from the that water hole. Otherwise, we would have been killed because it was with again the cub was with the baby sloth bears. Two sloth bear babies were there. So and mothers are generally very protective for their babies actually. Sloth bear particularly. We can't take chance with sloth bear. Well, thank you. What is the future of wildlife in India? Future, every day, government is trying to clear their encroachments. Second, every single day they are trying their best to have water conservation activities, tree plantation drives, and every day with the new technology and the new uh, methods of this all this thing. Like last government has decided to go for 50 crore plantation. Even if you see 50 crore plantation, 50 crore trees is a huge number actually. It's not a small number. So such a drives are undertaking and social activities are undertaking. People are understanding the values of the wildlife. So government is definitely trying to put forth few things which will help in increasing the wildlife corridor, wildlife areas, forest areas. Now the the second concern is of the villages and the people who are living nearby forest area or adjacent to forest area. We are desperately trying to build up such a facility so that people should not be dependent on the forest area. And those people who are inside the forest area or nearby forest area, we are relocating them, so we are providing. So everything is going to help to increase the number of individuals and help in increase the forest cover. Now that this whatever the scope, as you said, as you mentioned, what is the scope for wildlife management is definitely going to be increased. But again, for that matter, our needs are also increased actually, road construction and all other things. But in that also, government is trying to make elevated roads, underground roads, so that wild animals should not face any kind of problem, and they should cross their means corridors through their corridors very easily. We are trying means best possible, and definitely with the this use of technology and all those things, there is a lot of scope, and it will definitely help increase. The concern is about the Wildlife Protection Act, and that has been as it is, or Animal Welfare Act, that are very weak. So it has actually again the department and the animal husbandry departments and NGOs and people concerned with the and working with the animals, irrespective of the domestic animal, the wild animal, they are pursuing the matter with the courts and government, so that the punishment thing and there should be stringent laws regarding the protection of the wildlife and others. So I think in the coming year that will also solve that problem will also solve, and will come up with a better rules, regulation, and that will also again help in wildlife conservation.
Thank you, Chetan. That was great talking, and it was really interesting to hear all your experience and your, what do you call, adventures.
Thank you so much for again for inviting me, and it was again a very nice conversation with you, almost for 2 hours.
I know, it was very enlightening. I didn't even realize.
We could discuss few things. If possible, we'll discuss later on. Other things we'll discuss. Surely we'll discuss